tech editor Peter O'Brien, who's been looking into that for us. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Jenny.
So like any new rules released by the EU, it was bound to be controversial.
Controversial? EU rules? Never. No, this code of practice, I'll just say what it is briefly. It's guidelines around AI safety, copyright and transparency, and it's particularly focused towards these companies creating the cutting edge of AI generalist chatbots. So like OpenAI for its ChatGPT, or Google for its Gemini, or Anthropic for Claude, for instance. And as you say, it's caused a stir. Big tech lobbies say it goes too far. Civil society groups say it's been watered down by those big tech lobbies. Case in point, CCIA Europe, which represents the technology industry, says it imposes a disproportionate burden on AI providers, while the Future Society Civil Society think tank says it perpetuates providers' deploy first, question later mentality, and means that potentially dangerous models will get to European users without receiving any meaningful scrutiny. They're essentially arguing that the EU wants to look innovation-friendly and also doesn't want to piss off Donald Trump, and has therefore given big tech lobbyists exclusive access to the last draft of this document because they want to make sure they get some of these tech companies signing on the dotted line. Obviously, the EU Commission will say that there's not much point in a code of practice if no one's signed up for it, and we'll have to see who will sign up to it. We're not sure yet.
And some of the key parts of the code of practice surround data. Tell us more.
Yeah, so data is the lifeblood of all of these AI models. It's crucial to how they work, what kind of data you put in and why. Now, up to now, most of the models don't make it very clear or transparent what kind of data they're using and how. And the code of practice is going to change this. So signatories will have to report on their training method, their training data, how they got it, what kind of data it is, and also evidence that they actually obtained the right to third-party data. They're also going to have to open the door to independent external evaluators to look at their AI models and even look at their relevant training data. So that could be a big step for these companies to have to take.
Now, copyrighted data is particularly a thorny issue. Does it deal with that as well?
Yeah, so one of the three parts of this code of practice is dedicated to copyright. And if we call data the lifeblood of these models, well, artists and authors have been saying for a long time now that this is lifeblood that's been sucked from them without their permission for profit. Web crawlers have been crawling the internet, scooping up everything on it, including copyright content, and using it to feed into the machine and train these models. Anthropic, even as was revealed in court documents recently, has made copies of every single book they could possibly find, millions of them, by buying secondhand books and scanning them page by page and then destroying them. Not only that, vast swathes of deliberately pirated material have been used to train these models, or at least the early versions of them. Now, the code of practice asks for the first time companies to commit to not using pirated databases, and also asks them to allow rights holders to opt out of their work being used to train these models. It comes hot on the tail of three court cases in the US where judges have for the first time pronounced on this issue, and they're tending to say that copyrighted material for training AI is fair use, although that will differ from case to case, but they haven't, crucially, given a free pass to these companies on pirated content.
And I think it comes as no surprise that AI companies are paying top dollar for top data.
That's right. So now the market for high quality proprietary data is exploding. And it's not just because of the push to respect copyright and the push to crack down on pirated content, but also simply because the better your data is, the more competitive your model is. So you might have heard of last month's $14 billion investment by Meta into Scale AI. This startup provided training data to a bunch of these different AI companies, but such is the competition that this deal has now spooked some of them off and sent them running to alternatives. The CEO of rival AI data company Turing, Jonathan Siddharth, told me that business has been booming in the last couple of weeks. Now, their business model, like some of the other data providers, is based on millions of freelance contractor software engineers and experts in poor countries around the world. One of them in India told me that it was decent money, flexible hours, but zero job security whatsoever. So it's kind of like the rebirth of the gig economy for the AI era. Now, Siddharth, I asked him earlier this week about this data and piracy issue. Take a listen.
I think it's really important to respect the rights of creators, which is why platforms like Turing are one of the ways to responsibly scale model performance, because the data that we generate for each of our clients is proprietary. And the talent gets paid, the client is paying for data that they basically own, which is different from scraping content from the internet.
And new startups that come along, they almost, in a way, have to use pirated content if they have any chance of catching up, because they simply can't afford the kind of service you provide. Is there any solution to this, or do we just have to accept it?
I think there are some good academic data sets, like there's Common Crawl, C4, GitHub, Archive. There are a few data sets that academia usually trains on for pre-training. At Turing, we are also considering how we can help in this regard. We'll have more to share about that soon.
I did try to push Turing on what exactly their solution is going to be for making those high quality proprietary data sets available to wider public and to startups that would usually be stealing data. They didn't bite. But in any case, I think it's very interesting how the EU, in its push to regulate this, could be one of the contributing factors to this entirely new way of working around the world. Turing itself has about 4 million contractors around the world, Jenny.